In this week's episode, we're going to be looking at fitness standards within the police and shift workers' overall fitness standards in general, and are they good enough to be able to adequately complete the jobs that they are paid by the public to do. And now, first up, I ran a poll on my Instagram story last week where I asked my followers, all 27,000 of them, how many police officers, they thought trained lifting weights regularly in the gym. And the answers were somewhere between 11 and 30%. Now, I did a bit of research myself based on the teams that I used to be on when I was a police officer, and I reckon about 20% of officers that I worked with lifted weights with any kind of regularity. Now, for me, that's not good enough. I think officers, particularly police, are paid to protect the public, to protect their colleagues, and most of all, they need to be able to protect themselves. Now, admittedly, you get PPE, you get a baton, you get a taser, you get your parva. But these should be fallback options. They should not be your go-to. If your go-to is a device that could quite easily fail, you fucked up. You should be able to have some kind of physical capability to resolve issues without having to resort to PPE. PPE should be a worst case scenario. I guess if they've got a knife or they've got a weapon, fine. But if it's hands-on physical, jumping straight into parva could miss. You can shoot your colleague, you could get yourself. Whereas if you get hands-on and you've got the physical strength to detain or restrain someone, that's got to be the go-to every single time. If you're strong, that's fail-safe. You've always got strength. That will never fail. And so, for me, there's not enough emphasis put on by constabularies on their officers to maintain a high level of fitness. I find that 5.4 on the bleep test is just not a good measure that someone's adequately fit to be a police officer. You know, the officers that are getting, if this is kind of shocking to you or you don't like what I'm saying, tough. If you're only just scraping 5.4 on the bleep test, your physical fitness is not good enough. Yes, the constabularies might say it's good enough, but that's just a box ticking exercise for them to be able to cover themselves from a health and safety standpoint, to say that the officer has a degree of health and fitness. For me, the fact that some constabularies are thinking of turning down 5.4 to like 3.6 is utterly pathetic. It's woeful. And a lot of that comes from the fact that they're struggling to recruit more officers nowadays because they get kicking in the media. The salary is not very good. People are just not leaving because they don't like the job, because it's hard. It is hard, and I get that. But then, as a result, because they can't get enough officers, they're having to lower the entry standards of officers coming in. It's just going to exacerbate the problem, because they're going to have worse officers patrolling the streets, giving an even worse representation of the police force. More officers are going to be getting assaulted because they're not physically fit to protect themselves or their colleagues or members of the public, and it's just exacerbating the problem. For me, officers need to take the control into their own hands. They need to be doing more. They need to be training regularly in the gym. Train hard, fight easy. You either have it hard now, easy later, or you have it easy now and hard later. And unfortunately, when it's hard later, you don't get to choose when that is. Somebody will choose that for you, and it's going to be very hard to get back. The best cure is prevention. So if you're waiting until you have that scary incident where you got hurt or somebody got hurt because you were not physically fit, you can prevent that by simply starting now. And we've got officers inside the program right now who came to me, reached out to me saying, Ross, this happened. I don't want this to happen again. I'm scared. And so they've now got that kind of motivation and that reason to actually get in shape, because shit hit the fan and they came off worse from it. So you don't want to be the officer. You want to be the one that's leading the way. You want to be the one that's fit and strong and healthy, going into jobs full of confidence, feeling like if it kicks off, you know you've got this. Not the officer that's at the back with their colleagues thinking, oh God, they're here, they're not going to do anything. Because I've worked with officers like that, and you can't, it's harsh, but you resent them because they're not adequate. They're not able to do the job that they're supposed to be doing just because they passed 5.4 on the bleep test. And for me, it's just not good enough. It might be hard for some of you to hear this, but ultimately that's how it is. So what I want to look at now is what we do inside the shift worker shred to make sure that our clients are as physically fit as they possibly can be to fulfill their role as a police officer, as a paramedic, in border force, as a prison officer. Even working in a factory, like, you have physical demands placed upon you that you need to be in the best physical shape you can be to carry out the role. And if you're not, you have to bear some of that responsibility. Just because your constabulary doesn't tell you to do it doesn't mean that you should. You still need to be in good physical shape. And being in good physical shape isn't just good for work. It's good for your mental health. It's good for your physical health. It's good for your energy levels. It's good for your confidence. It's good for your social skills. and it's just going to make you feel better all of the time. So what we're going to do now is look at how we train our clients to make sure that they are in as good a physical shape as they possibly can be. Now, in an ideal world, I think somebody should be training 5 times a week with a combination of upper body focused and lower body focused exercises. That for me is where you're going to get the most amount of gains. However, I admit around shift work, it's not always feasible to get that amount of sessions in a week. It is possible depending on your priorities and your time. Minimum of 3, maximum of 5 probably, maybe even 6 if you want, 7 if you want to do cardio training every single day. I'll leave it up to you. But here's the main movement patterns that we get all of our clients to do once they've got to a certain level of gym confidence. Maybe they're not injured, and maybe that they have got the equipment available to do these exercises. So first up, we've got the squat. So for example, we've got the barbell back squat, where the bar's across your rear shoulders, where it's across a front squat, where it's across your front, safety squat bar, goblet squat, Bulgarian split squat, normal split squat. This is probably the most important movement pattern. It's one that all babies can do. They can stand up straight and they can squat all the way down with their bum nearly touching the floor. Everyone can do this when they're born. The problem is everybody kind of loses this ability because they stop squatting properly. Their muscles get tighter, their hips get tighter, joints degrade, and they lose the ability to squat. Very much a case of use it or lose it. But squat has probably got the most carryover of any lift, from, in my opinion, into the real world. It's going to help you stand up and sit down, go upstairs, run after people, pick people up. It's a very universally beneficial movement. So if you're not squatting on your program and you've got some kind of physiological issue that stops you from squatting, you really need to have a squat movement in there every single time. Next up, we've got the hinge. So hinge movement is something like a deadlift where you're hinging around your waist. Check out the video. Also normal deadlift, Romanian deadlift, and also kettlebell swing. Super important. If you're a paramedic or a police officer and you're trying to pick up a stretcher off the floor, you're trying to pick up someone who's non-compliant, hinge is going to save you. If you've got a really good hinge movement, your chance of getting injured picking people up is massively reduced because you can utilize all your muscles in the right order with good power, with good strength, so you can do these kind of exercises without putting your lower back at risk, without impacting your hamstrings, then potentially causing a rupture. So make sure that you absolutely have a hinge lift in your program at some point. Next up, we've got the lunge. Forward lunge, back lunge, side lunge. Again, really important. Things like running upstairs, it's going to impact sprint speed, it's going to impact your balance, your ability, mobility, really important. Again, if you're not getting, lunges are an unpleasant lift, I won't lie. When you've got to do like 20 reps, 10 reps aside, it takes a long time, and by the end you'll be gritting your teeth, sweating, either holding the dumbbells on the floor with a barbell across your back. They suck, but ultimately, if you want to get better, you want to get fitter, these are the kind of things you need to do. Next up, we've got push movements. So these include push-ups, bench press, dumbbell chest press, overhead press, and a push jerk, which is quite an advanced move. This is really important. You need to have the ability to push things away from you, whether that's pushing somebody away from you who's coming at you, whether you're opening doors in the pick, whether you're pushing a car down the road. Really important movement pattern, and again, something that you should have in there. Most people like this one because it includes things like bench press and dumbbell press, which you see a lot of people doing a lot of the time. Typically, I think most people are going to have this incorporated into their program already. Opposite to a push is a pull. So that's things like bent over row. We've got a seated cable row. We've got an inverted row. We've also got a pull-up. We've got lat pull down, and we've got chin-ups. Again, probably quite a common one. Most people like training the upper body. It's typically deemed as easier, and I would imagine that you've probably got some kind of exercise like this already in your program. Next up, we've got rotation. So this is one that you typically don't see very often in people's programs. We've got Russian twists, we've got cable wood chops, and we've got medicine ball slams. Now, if you're one of my clients, you've almost certainly got some variety of this in there, maybe even a Pallof press, which is anti-rotation. These are really, if you're trying to wrestle a non-compliant subject on a public order night and you're trying to get them on the floor, it's taking them from here, chucking them on the floor, getting them down. If you don't have your obliques worked, or your core stability, or your ability to coordinate your muscles in a way to do that, it's going to be really hard. If you've got a really strong rotation, you can get your arms around someone and you can put them on the floor quite easily. That's why it's a really important exercise to have in there if you're a frontline shift worker. Next up, we have got carry/locomotion. So these include walking, farmer's walks, and sprinting. Farmer's walk is typically the one that we put in most people's programs because it's the easiest to do. You get some dumbbells, one in each hand, and you walk up and down. If you're a police officer and you're wearing a lot of kit all of the time, you're kind of doing this to some variety, but we can just make it harder in the gym to make it easier when you're out. So if you're running after somebody and you've got all this heavy kit bouncing around, causing you to become unstable, I think the belt and the vest might weigh like a stone, quite a bit of weight. If you can practice this in the gym with way more weight, when you're actually doing it out and about with your belt on, with your vest on, it becomes so much easier. Okay, so that's why we put it in everybody's programs. So if you're a frontline shift worker and you want to be as functionally fit as you possibly can be, covering the 7 major movement patterns, covering power, strength, hypertrophy, endurance, cardiovascular functioning as well, you need to be incorporating all of these things, the major movement patterns, the rep ranges, the frequency, with the consistency to be that really all-round functionally fit shift worker. Now, if you want to be that person, you want to be tactically fit, you want to be the officer, the frontline shift worker that your colleagues look to as the flag bearer for fitness on your team. You want to be the one that suspects and people on public order nights look at and think, I ain't going to mess with that person because they're probably going to mess me up. That's what you want to have. You want to have that fear. You want to have that authority. You want to be the person that people look at and think, yeah, I don't want to mess with them. Trust me, it's a vibe. It works. And you're not sure where to start. You're not sure what to do. You don't really know what you need to do to get started or how to get there. Go on Instagram at Ross Davies Fitness and drop me a message with the word 7 for the 7 major movement patterns, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Shift Worker Shred is currently open for applications. We try and keep it open as much as possible. So yeah, drop me a message and I can send you the information over on how we work. So guys, thanks for listening. Hopefully you've enjoyed this episode. If you do, please give it a like and follow so you don't miss the next one. And I'll see you guys on Saturday when we release our next episode.